Oh, hey there. In 3, 2, 1, we are rolling.
Welcome to the Internet Bible School Show, or you can call it for short, the IBS Show. I'm your host, Steven, and joining me from the other side of a social distance barrier is my co-host, Tyler.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter, everyone, indeed.
Hey, by the way, don't you think since it's Easter, we should take the week off?
Is every other influence that is fiercely competing for our students' attention taking the week off because it's Easter?
No, probably not.
Well, then neither are we.
Wow, that was kind of harsh.
Did we just have our first fight?
Well, if we didn't, it was definitely pretty close.
Maybe we should go back and watch our episode on conflict.
Yeah, I guess I could always use a refresher, but it's not like we're trying to kill each other.
Well, that was weird.
Dang it, I was hoping that clip would stay dead and people would forget about it.
And speaking of not staying dead, this week's episode is brought to you by Easter.
Did you say Tim and Emily Keister?
No, not our beloved friends that we honor as former small group leaders to students who have now gone on and graduated. This week's episode is brought to you by Easter.
Honestly, I knew you said Easter this time, but I love their last name so much that I couldn't pass up the opportunity to say it.
Understandable. Also, since we cut a few segments this week, we have a little bit of extra time if you want to say it again.
No, I'm good, but thanks.
Hey, since Tim and Emily's students already graduated and they're probably not even watching this, do you think we should even mention them for that joke?
No, that's a good point. We should probably think of something else that rhymes with Easter this week.
Sounds good. I'll just write a new script and we can just forget that any of this even happened.
Yeah, we can do better. It's never too late to improve something.
That's right, Tyler, which is exactly why we're going to kick off our weekly adventure segment with a girl who set out to improve on a timeless tradition by replacing Easter egg yolk with a little Save the Planet woke. Roll that feature.
Hey guys, happy Easter! I wanted to start off this week's adventure with an awesome family tradition of painting Easter eggs.
Why are you using plastic eggs?
What else would I use?
Like real eggs from a chicken, like a normal person?
Oh, you want to talk about normal? You won't even let us have a microwave in the house, but you want me to exploit chickens for my family tradition?
No, you're right. Funding the plastics company and destroying the environment is much more noble. I'm sure the Easter Bunny would be very proud of you.
Why do you always do this?
You're the one who's trying to brainwash kids into ruining the most important part of Easter by switching to plastic eggs.
Brainwash them? I'm just having fun. What? Since when were painting eggs the most important part of Easter?
Always? Well, aren't they?
No, they aren't. Everyone knows the real significance of Easter. The eggs and bunnies are just for fun.
What are you talking about?
You know, the original Easter story that everyone learns about when they're little at church.
Our family's yoga temple never once talked about Easter. I actually didn't even hear about it until college.
Okay, this is ridiculous. Change of plans. I found it!
Is that a time machine?
No? Well, kind of.
What the heck?
Well, so a long time ago, my dad made me this video about the true meaning of Easter, and he said that one day it would come in really handy for me and that it's really important to know. So maybe today is the day he was talking about. All right, let's see if it works.
Is your family really religious and stuff?
Shut up, it's starting.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Weekly Adventure. I'm Jeff, and I'll be your host today. And I thought, because Easter's right around the corner, we'd do something a little bit different. I have a young daughter, and I want her to know what the true meaning of Easter is all about. And so today we're going to make an educational video. Kesley, if you ever see this, I want you to know just how important this story is. Easter Sunday had to happen. God couldn't allow human sin and death to be the final word because he loves us too much. He had to come to us, and he did, in the person of Jesus of Nazareth. And he came to make things right. He came to make things the way they were supposed to be in the beginning. Humans are stuck in a system that we can't get out of, and it's a system of sin and death. And this system is the way that it is because of us. But you know what the best news that anyone can possibly hear is? It's that in spite of our sin, Jesus has saved us. But how do we know? Well, on Easter Sunday, the tomb was empty. You see, Jesus defeated sin and death, and now everyone who places their faith in who Jesus is and what Jesus has done experiences forgiveness and new life now and forever. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, be kind and rewind that VHS tape. We'll see you again soon.
That was so neat. Your family is so cultural. Do you want to see how my family communicates from the past?
What? Emily, no. These kids aren't Christian. We don't do that.
Wow, those are some really weird roommates. I wonder what their neighbors think of them. Also, that was a pretty good weekly adventure, considering she had to follow up last week's impressive musical experience. That song is still stuck in my head, but enough about that. This isn't story time. By the way, did the story time segment die? That's interesting. Maybe one day it'll rise again. And speaking of rising again, I bet one of our local youth pastors has something really great to say about all this Easter talk. Let's find out.
Well, hello there, all of you Netflix watching, selfie snapping, TikTok making youths. I hope you're doing well and making the most of this quarantine time, like myself. In case you haven't noticed, I'm growing a wonderful, beautiful, voluptuous, superb mustachio. That's enough of that. In case you haven't noticed, it's Easter Sunday. And guess what? We're not gonna talk about Easter. Okay, maybe just for a minute. So here's the thing. The Easter story goes like this. There was a dude named Jesus who was born of a virgin teen pregnancy. And guess what? He spent most of his life walking around doing miracles, healing people, fulfilling prophecies that gained him actually quite a large following. Not only a large following of people that loved him, but also a large following of people that absolutely hated him. And in fact, they hated him so much that they wanted to actually kill him. He lived to about his mid-30s, walking around claiming to be the actual Son of God. He predicted his own death and was eventually crucified. And almost more importantly, he predicted his resurrection. He was killed, buried in a tomb, and 3 days later rose again. This is what the entire Christian faith is based upon. This is incredible, mind-blowing, and quite frankly, it's unbelievable. So why would I believe all this? How could I actually know all of that to be true? Well, for starters, a little book called the Bible. It's actually not just one book. The Bible's made up of 66 different books. It's the most sold and the most stolen book in all of history. Scholars of Christian faith and scholars that don't even believe in God can all agree that the Bible is the most accurately copied document of all time. But even still, you gotta ask yourself, why would you believe all the outrageous claims and promises in this book? For me, it started like this: making a lifestyle out of asking good questions, investigating, testing, praying about, engaging with a man in history named Jesus. And I don't know where you guys are at with this whole idea about God, but since it's Easter and today's not actually about a bunny, but about an event wrapped around a guy named Jesus, that's who we're gonna talk about. But before we go any further, I want you guys to stop and ask yourself, what are you doing to make peace with the miracle and story of the death and resurrection of Jesus? The problem is we can all become so relaxed and comfortable and not actually give the story of Easter the attention that it actually deserves. This week, we're gonna read out of a book in the Bible called Matthew in chapter 7, verses 7 through 8. And it goes like this: Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. And the one who knocks, the door will be open. These verses are talking about finding the will of God. But when I read those verses, I can't help but think about how many of us live the Christian life on accident. It's a temptation we can all fall into, that I fall into, and I think today is a perfect day to talk about it. So often we can show up to an Easter Sunday and treat it like another day just to eat more food with our family and get together and just have a party. When truly, Easter Sunday is literally the most important day in the whole entire Christian faith. But the truth is, many of us just don't treat it like that. Sometimes in life, I just need to reset. There's different seasons in life where I just need to take a step back, and I can't think of a more perfect time for us to reset our thoughts and our approach on who Jesus is and what his death and resurrection means for us as Christians. Many of you have more time than you have ever had on your hands ever before. So let's not waste this time. Let's not waste this crisis. Right now is the perfect time to start seeking after God, to start seeking answers, to start asking really good questions about the Bible, who He is, and what the truth is that surrounds Him and His story. So today, I want you guys to ask yourself this: what can I better do to start seeking truth and understanding and intimacy with God right here and right now where you're at? Those are pretty big questions, and I don't believe you're meant to ask them alone. So if you want to talk about what that could look like for you, comment below or DM us on our Instagram account. I know that I would love to dialogue with you about some of those big questions, and I know that your small group leaders would as well. So make sure you hit up small group this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. They're waiting for you guys, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. That's it. That's all, guys. I love you, and until next week, peace and love. Thanks, local youth pastor. That was a great message indeed. Why am I talking to myself and about myself? I really need to start interacting with more humans. This quarantine is killing me. Which reminds me, we have the Connection Corner to give this community some quality opportunities to connect with each other. Colin, feed them the business.
Colin, it's time for the Easter special at your Connection Corner.
What? It's already Easter?
Hello, fellow egg painting Christians. Happy Easter. Sorry I was late. I've been in quarantine so long that I don't even know what day it is. Can anyone relate? Anyways, I'm Colin, and this is my Connection Corner. Everything I share during this Connection Corner will be up on our Linktree website. I even made our tree Easter themed to celebrate. What a miraculous tree. What a miraculous tree indeed. Almost as miraculous as Jesus rising from the dead. Can I get an amen in the chat? This show goes live at 6 p.m. every Sunday. Consistency! If you're watching live right now, tell me what your favorite Easter treat was in the chat. If you aren't already, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Also, if you're a real one, like the video and click the bell to turn on notifications for our channel. Instagram's also the best place to communicate with us and see what we're doing throughout the week. Want to be famous? Post your best Easter picture from the past on your Instagram story. Tag us and we'll repost it. I'll start by exploiting myself. Our Instagram is kcstudents.ct. Follow! What are you waiting for? Cool, thanks. Another great way to get connected with us is by joining our Edge and Breakaway Discord servers. It's a great place to find people to hang out with within our online community and play games. Get creative! Speaking of, I really need some of you guys to carry me to some dubs in Fortnite. Please join the Discord and DM me. Let's see how many wins I can get by the next Connection Corner. I need over 10 at least, guys. As usual, DM us on Instagram for a link to join the Christian Minecraft server. I hopped on with Steve this week and I was absolutely shooken. You guys are Minecraft masters. Also, we have a weekly request from Steven. Can you guys build the Death Star from Star Wars in the sky? He said it's really important. Thank you, guys. And last but certainly not least, don't forget about our Bible resources. Here you can find video teachings, devotionals, small group studies, and parent cues. What was that? You want a group to do these with? I got you covered. Sign up for Zoom small groups. Virtual community. We have the best leaders and the best time. You definitely want to be there. You can find the link to sign up on our Linktree website along with all the other links I talked about. You can find it in the description and on the screen. Now it's time for the good part. It's time for me to resurrect my swag-tastic celebration smile, Easter edition. Make sure to take a screenshot of all of this information while I do this so you can share it with your friends and family this holiday season. I'm not sick, I promise. I just had an Easter egg shell stuck in my throat. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget to get connected this week. Have a great Easter with your families. Peace!
His family is so lucky to have him back home with them. I hope they feel the same way. Also, I hope they're having a really great Easter today. By the way, have you ever thought about why Easter has bunnies and eggs? Well, don't worry about it. Every holiday comes with weird traditions, and everyone knows that's the best part. So we reached out to our volunteer leaders and asked them this question. What's the weirdest Easter tradition that your family does? Here's our top 5 fave.
What up, guys? A weird Easter tradition my family has is we go to the Anderson, Indiana casino and go to their buffet, and we just get all the fixings. They got crab legs, they got a chocolate fountain. I'm in my Easter finest. We got all my extended family there. It's fire.
Easter baskets, candy, Mom made me wear a suit. That was really bad. I don't like wearing formal wear. I'd like to try a few new traditions. How about rabbit season or duck season? Like a fancy dinner.
Kind of weird tradition that my family started was 3 years ago. My grandma started making a cake for Easter, and now every year she decorates the cake for Easter in a new way. So that's kind of weird.
A weird Easter tradition that my family has is we always dress up in camo and we go and find our Easter eggs because we're hunting for them. So we wear camo and then we take a family photo.
Okay, you guys, my family does an egg cracking contest on Easter. Everybody picks out their favorite hard-boiled egg, then you hold it in your hand and you run up to people and smash your egg into their egg as hard as you can, and whoever egg cracks ends up losing the contest. If your egg doesn't crack, then you win.
Have you ever met somebody that didn't have really weird family traditions? Those people give me the creeps. Thankfully, as we just saw, all of our leaders have them. It's a sign of good character. Well, I think we're pretty much done with this episode. It looks like Tyler's already working on his resume for when the circus comes to town. But before we go, I want to leave you all with an Easter challenge. Today, we celebrate the day that Jesus rose from death to life. You may have seen a bunch of people on the internet saying, "He is risen. He is risen indeed." But if that's all you knew about this story, Jesus would probably be pretty bummed. If you only knew about what happened but didn't know about the why, honestly, it would probably break his heart. That's because he didn't humbly submit himself to the wrath of God via a criminal's execution ending in death that separated him from his Father just to impress you. No, instead he did all of that for you. As sinners, that separation from God was supposed to be for us, not Jesus. But he loved us so much that he paid our penalty for us. So actually, the victory that we celebrate on Easter isn't just that Jesus rose from death to life. We also celebrate that because of his payment and his sacrifice, we also are redeemed from death and offered life. If this concept blows your mind and raises more questions, good, it should. For example, ever wonder why we call the day that Jesus was brutally and undeservedly executed Good Friday? Here's another one. If our penalty for sin was going to be eternal death and separation from God, why was Jesus dead for only 3 days? Don't ignore these questions. Like the verses said today, if you want answers, seek them out. Jesus paid the ultimate price so that you could have life and be in relationship with your Creator. Do you really want to spend that life not caring about him? If I'm not being intentional, it's so easy to find myself in that very position. But I believe Jesus paid for me to have true life, and that's why I follow him. But I can only follow him if I take the time to get to know his voice. And the same is true for you. So the question is, do you actually know him? Do you actually know his voice? If not, how can you follow him? So the challenge this week is to take time to seek him. Ask your questions. This quarantine has probably taken some things from you, but the one thing it has most likely given to you is time. Don't waste it. There is nothing more important than getting to know who God actually is. I'm going to keep starting my days off by reading and journaling like I mentioned last week. What's your plan? What are you going to do this week to seek God and better get to know his voice? That's about all we have for you guys this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and sign up for the virtual small groups. Also, go check everything else we have going on in the link tree. That's all. We're done here. This isn't goodbye. See you on the internet.